This is what building a physique taught me about female nature. If you've watched this channel before, you've probably seen our transformation. And alongside a transformation like this comes two completely different life circumstances and two different life experiences. So in this video, we're going to cover the complete difference in the life experience and exactly what we learned specifically about female nature. The first pill you need to swallow is that the size pill is pretty brutal. And this is kind of contrary to what like these black pill or like looks maxing people are talking about, besides a few good ones. And they completely just overlook the importance of size and frame and presence. And we've talked about this before, but even me, Nelson, noticed a difference, years into training, but comparatively in different phases, like when we went through keto and got, pretty thin, attempting to get shredded for the first time and massively failing and kind of just shrinking into nothing, compared to, properly dieting, staying lean while keeping the size, while keeping the fullness and being around about like 8 to 10 kilos heavier. Yeah, obviously we always talk about lean is law, but we have to apply nuance to a subject like this. Yes, being lean is ideal, but at the same time, being big is also ideal. So what does that mean? It means we have to spend a lot of time in the gym. Now, this does not mean you bulk your way up to be a bloated gym cell. That will get you the opposite of what you want. And I think people want to hear the quick solution. And that's what like looks maxing is. Like looks maxing is a very quick thing to do. It's usually only these soft maxes that you have to do and you look significantly better. Gym, on the other hand, is a long, tedious, repetitive process. And the irony is, our faces looked better on keto. Yeah. Like, we had very low inflammation, very low water retention, and we were pretty peeled. However, like I said, we had no fullness, we had no size, and we were just objectively small to the average male. Like, I think we would have been below the average weight of an adult male. So it does lead to this kind of juvenile appearance and build where you kind of get that like Justin Bieber appeal to like usually what the younger women would go for, but I don't think that's really ideal for getting general results. So this is me now about 10 kilos heavier. You could argue a little bit higher in body fat, or maybe roughly the same actually. And this was years after. Now, the diet I followed to get here was a balanced diet, like a bodybuilder's diet. And it just took a lot of time in the gym, consistent dieting with no fuck ups to achieve this. And the results comparatively to when I was lean and kind of small were two completely different realities. I'm talking two completely different realities. Now, I'm a rather tall guy, and a lot of people would say, yeah, you're tall, you can just rely on that. There's nothing I can do about being tall, jacked, and handsome, unfortunately, guys. But I can tell you, being tall and skinny versus tall and big is completely different. Like, if you're a tall guy, you would know this. When people tell you, oh, bro, all you need to do is be tall, you're blessed because you're tall, it really doesn't do that much if your physique really isn't up to scratch. Yeah, and the reason that this just gets better results is because it's hardwiring, it's protection, it's provision, it's gets that raw primal attraction that you really want, I think, with dating. I don't think it's really good to try and earn attraction through like money or status or, game and doing the right things and creating frame. And yes, that can work, but you just have a way better time when that attraction is just there from the start. You don't even have to speak. They just look at you and they know that you're a man. So especially in 2026, it's a game of comparison. They're comparing you to everyone now because they have access to so many high level guys, right? So what's the biggest thing? Like I just told you before, it takes a very long time to be both big and lean, have presence, and stand out amongst 1,000 guys. And that's why no one wants to do it, and that's why it's so rare, and that's why women seek out for it. Yeah. And like this primal attraction, like I mentioned, it doesn't need a backstory, it doesn't need explanation. You don't need to prove that you're the man because your physique kind of displays that. And what you'll notice once you have this primal attraction is it becomes far easier to go from A to Z in one night, whether that's what you want or what it's not what you want. Whether you think that's productive for anything is entirely up to you, but it makes it possible. And if you do want to go out and just be a dirty little degenerate, it's very much possible as well, especially when you actually stand out amongst the crowd. Like when we were on keto, there was no mentioning like in public when people are drunk, they're not saying, look at you, mate. Oh, fucking biceps. How much do you bench? Any of those comments from guys or girls. It didn't happen because you simply don't stand out. You're athletic, cool. A lot of guys are. But when you're big, you stand out and you get comments for it and you get attention for it and people notice. If you don't think this is the case, I was once again confirmed this. We didn't go out much. The other weekend we were celebrating a milestone and it was just solidified once again that presence matters the most, especially in these scenarios like bars or lounges or clubs or pubs. And regardless whether you go into these environments or not on an often basis, it's an exaggerated reality of what reality actually is. And the second I walked in, I had two guys come up to me and ask me what I was doing with training, why I looked the way I did, and they were buying me drinks all night. You know, it sounds cocky, I get it, but this is the reality. If you are like a pretty big guy and you've gone out and you've experienced the same thing, you would agree with me. Not to mention, even if you do, try to hold down a long-term relationship, it's far easier because the frame is there, right? You are in your masculine frame physically. So it's much easier to have that feminine masculine polarity, which I think is productive for a long-term relationship. And I'm not going to get too far into it, but yeah, better bedroom experience. For sure. Yeah, you've got some guys like telling their girl what position to go into. When you're a bigger guy, you can pretty much just throw them around and give them the experience that they truly want. I'm going to brush over this, but you get the point. A bigger man is stronger, more dominant, more capable of protection, has higher status potential, and women don't objectively think this, and I think this is where a lot of people don't see the nuance. This stuff is subconscious, right? And they might even listen to what females are saying, but you need to have a look at what they're actually doing, what the actions are displaying. And like we mentioned, it's not just women. Men notice too, man. They come up to you and they will say things, especially when you have things like alcohol completely removing inhibitions. You just get glazed when you're bigger. It's so simple. You might say, well, like, I don't care what other men think, or I don't care what these people think, but it's all about pre-selection, right? If there's a bunch of guys that are impressed with you and they look up to you almost in an inspirational way, that does insane amounts of things for your dating life. When a woman can see that you are respected, that you are high status in a social scenario, that will put you leagues above everyone else. And this is exactly why women feel calmer around bigger, grounded men, not intimidated. So a lot of guys think that you get too big and all of a sudden you're scaring off women, but it's actually the complete opposite. If you are just a chilled guy who's just very relaxed, very grounded within himself, you'll find that they actually gravitate more around you because they know you're a strong protector. They know you're not some weirdo who's going to use it for the wrong reasons, because women can feel energy. They can feel it better than anyone else. They can sense if something's off with a guy. And if there's a guy that doesn't look right, he hasn't put in the effort to groom himself or put himself in the gym, or he has no self-care practices, they're going to look at you like you're a weirdo. They're going to look at you like, what is wrong with this guy? The next thing I learned is that women just don't want to look stupid in front of their other female friends. They're very susceptible to social pressure, especially with their other girlfriends or maybe even family members, and their partner is the biggest reflection of them. For many women, like, partner is a trophy. It's like, what could I get? I mean, and it's the exact same for men as well. And that's why we want attractive women, because we can almost brag about it. And, guys with not so attractive girlfriends tend to try to just hide it, or, not really take photos with them and things like this. And so, yeah, it's all good and well that you might have a good personality and it can keep things locked in behind closed doors. But at the end of the day, if you haven't got that raw attraction at the foundation, I can assure you, man, it's not going to work. And if you've ever seen Euphoria before, this exact thing plays out. It's like whoever can stand with Jacob Elordi is basically the prize winner. Whoever gets to walk with him down the hallway publicly in the school wins the prize. It's one guy. It's not multiple guys from the school. The whole thing is centered around one guy. Yeah, because they understand, like, there's a social tax to settling with a poor guy, and it's usually why it just never pans out, because slowly over time, hypergamy wins. They understand they probably have better options, or they're going to take their chances to attempt to get a better option, so that not only do they feel more comfortable with them, but socially they will feel more accepted. Yeah, so the main thing they don't want to do is have to justify themselves. And if you're instantly seen as like a tall or a big guy who's in great shape, or just an attractive guy, they don't have to justify anything. Other women can look at them and instantly be jealous, and that's exactly what she wants, as superficial as it sounds. And I know we might look like the bad guys for talking about this stuff, but I'm not scared to talk about it. This is just the world, and that's the way it is. Some people say, yeah, the world isn't that superficial. You just haven't looked into it enough. I promise you. And we mentioned it before, but there is like a primal psychological hardwiring to want to feel protected and to want to feel comfort with being with a guy. If something were to happen on the street, or someone was to come and confront him or the girl, that he's able to protect himself. I see this play out in every day, and you can look at the dynamics of a relationship just in public, be a little bit of a spectator, and it's always the more dominant looking guy that seems to have a better dynamic. It's either she's holding his arm or is following him. And I'm in Bali, right? And I see guys on scooters, and I've seen some guys on the back of a chick's scooter, and it's never the guy that's in shape. It's never the muscular guy. It's never the typical Chad. It's always the soybean looking guy.
I mean, they're more likely to crash too, like that weight distribution, that doesn't work, some big dude on the back. That's almost like clear as day, showing the dynamic. I mean, social media has turned this shit on turbo mode because women can see the men that are out there. They can see what they have access to and what other girls have access to, and they're very susceptible to jealousy. And if they know that girls on their same caliber are getting more attractive dudes, more in-shape dudes that have their lives together more, they will take their chances at trying to get a better dude. I don't care how locked in you think you are. You are never locked into a relationship. It only takes for one guy that's doing better than you in every single aspect, physically especially, for her to say, you know what, the deal there actually looks better. I might take that. And it's very easy for her to do because women are the gatekeepers to intimacy, so she decides whether or not that happens. Men decide whether or not a relationship happens, but women are very good at roping dudes into that anyway. So ultimately, it's really up to her. You don't really have any control over it, so you really just need to control what you have control over, which, number one, is your body.
And you might actually feel this when you level up enough. You might actually feel that you are getting used a little bit for this exact reason. And it might sound stupid. It might sound like, oh no, they're using me for my body. Or like more so using you for clout or social status. Especially if you are like a very big, like typical Chad looking guy. Women will just use you as a trophy piece. What a tragic reality that is.
And we kind of just been talking about like attraction and the ability to attract more females or the way they're attracted to you. But even inside a relationship, the dynamic changes completely in a positive way. Because you gain that raw primal attraction, pretty much whatever you want to do, you now have access to. What most guys need to do is whatever she wants to happen. You know, if she unlocks the gates to a long-term relationship, you take that instantly. And if a girl wants to ever do something short-term with you, you take that up instantly. But as a man, once you've built yourself to a good enough degree, you now have authority over what happens. If you want to do something short-term, you could probably do that every night for the year, realistically. But if you wanted something long-term, you control that too.
And like we mentioned, the big difference is in long-term dating dynamics. And so a lot of guys, they see like long-term relationships as like a safe bet, as sort of put their feet on the table and kick back a little bit. I'm locked in. I've got like this long-term relationship. I don't have to be that spontaneous, fun guy who can provide like these fun sexual sort of experiences. But the best part is when you have that polarity inside the relationship, you actually get to provide that within the relationship, because she doesn't lose interest in those kind of things just because she's in a long-term relationships. Those things still need to be fulfilled. And if you're not the guy that can fulfill it and actually meet up to her fantasies, I don't want to be the guy to say it, but I guess I will be. You probably won't last in that relationship because she has to get that from somewhere. She has to. It's in her hardwiring. And I mean, the statistics show this. I mean, we've covered this in videos before, but we're not just like pulling this out of her ass or something like that. We actually look at real data and statistics to back up what we're saying. And that's always what we'll base our claims off.
Yeah, out of 2,000 female respondents, 43% have a backup man if the current relationship ends. And in real world context, outside of a study where they probably are lying a little bit, I guarantee you it's higher than this. I guarantee it's closer to like 70%. It's almost all of them. 8 out of 10 are in contact with that backup man. 15% said their feelings were stronger for the backup man. 50% said their partner was aware of the backup man. Crazy, but it's probably like his best mate or like a co-worker or someone he thinks has nothing to do with her. 1 out of 5 admitted the backup man was a friend of their partner. There we go. I just said that. And 1 out of the 10 said the backup man had already confessed their undying love.
And this has no correlation to how much effort you're putting into the relationship. That doesn't mean shit when it comes to how loyal your girlfriend or wife is going to be.
I mean, it's a different discussion, but it's probably an inverse relationship with how much effort you put in.
Yeah.
That's the funny part. Probably the less effort you put in, the less likely this stuff is probably going to happen to you, for the most part.
Yeah, because how much effort do you think the backup guy's putting in? Do you know what really pays? Is just being that guy. That's going to convert to what you actually want it to be. And so obviously, as you could probably predict, the best way to avoid this, the best way to make sure that she doesn't have this backup man or doesn't have feelings for another man, is to be that man inside of the relationship. Make sure you are the first priority. You're her first choice. The amount of guys that come to us, even just on onboarding calls, and I get to hear the full story before they make this fitness transformation, and it's usually post-divorce or post-heartbreak. It's the same story I hear time and time again. It's either infidelity or they simply just kick their feet up, sort of relax a little bit, let go of themselves. All of a sudden, you're not her first priority. You're not her first choice anymore.
Yeah, and it might seem like a horrible time to bring this up, but honestly, man, like it's for the best. Like if this is you, if you've gone through a decade of pain or you were in a relationship for over a decade and you kind of just let yourself go, kicked your feet up and that exact situation happened to you, She lost attraction without explanation. She made an excuse and left. Good news is it really doesn't take much time at all to get back into shape. Like getting lean and getting into shape, it takes 8-12 weeks. Literally, for most people, depending on the circumstance, it's not like years. It's literally 1, 2, 3 months. So we are running an 8-week March challenge. So if you were sitting with just a little bit of extra chub, you know, maybe around the love handles or around like the lower back, and you're just out of shape and you really just want to get back in shape ASAP, we're running an 8-week challenge. In 8 weeks, we're going to get you down to 10% body fat, and then you're good. Then you can lean gain from there. You can maintain that. You can do whatever you want from there, but at least you're lean, at least you're aesthetic. And even just going from 20% down to 12%, somewhere around that range, it's life-changing. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's fucking life-changing.
Yeah, because you have to remember, it's not just changing your physique and obviously the appeal around your physique, but it's quite literally making your face look how it's supposed to look. Nice and chiseled and healthy. And if you know you've got potential, if you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, this is a no-brainer move. Because I ask guys always at the end of the transformation, how are things now that you've leveled up? And it's always black and white.
Yeah, just a reminder, like there are guys that are seeing results like this. There are guys that can turn on a dating app and just get absolutely flooded with messages, flooded with matches, and have tons of options within a day. Like it happens. And I noticed it too from leveling up. You'd load up a dating app, see nothing, probably what most guys are noticing, and they think dating apps are rubbish. If you take the right photos and you are aesthetic and you are lean, you will get lusted over just like how guys lust over women. It truly does happen. These are just some messages, like even from our like Harley twin stories, or Nelson's made a this is down bad, man. You're too good looking, something must be wrong. You know, same thing with other guys that are in shape, and they've done videos, you know, comparing the difference if you're curious. There's just zero friction to dating. It comes to them. That's the reality.
And so the biggest thing I learned about female nature after getting big and aesthetic is that it makes it from an uphill battle to you quite literally becoming magnetic, to the point where you don't have to worry about it anymore. You don't have to stress about that whole section of your life because it comes to you. That's the reality of attractive guys. And of course, we will get the comments, oh, it's all about face or it's all about this. I'm kind of getting sick of addressing it. Once again, it is a retarded mentality. You have to apply nuance to something like this. If you improve one area of your life, like getting lean or getting aesthetic, that's going to improve your face with it. It's about being well-rounded. Yes, you improve those other things with your physique, but why would you choose just one?
But if you do want to build a physique specifically for the female gaze, you're in luck because we made a video on that specifically, and you can watch it right here.